Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
Guten Tag and welcome to What's on Tap podcast.
Oh, this is the Oktoberfest edition.
Yeah, Prost. We're going to have many Oktoberfest beers.
I really like you in a dirndl, Stefan.
Thank you. Danke. So today we are doing Oktoberfest beers. We have these, seasons that come around in Europe every year. We have the Christmas beer season coming up pretty soon. We have the Easter beer season, which is the worst season of all. That's just the worst garbage beers that are created.
It's the same as the Christmas beers.
No, they are far worse. Trust me. We've done 3 Christmas beer episodes, or we're going to do 3 beer Christmas. We've done 1 Easter beer episode. Oh, they're so bad.
That's actually weird because in Sweden with Christmas, julmust and påskmust.
Right, those are the same.
Those are the same,
right,
because the food is the same. But why is the food the same?
The food is always the same.
Yeah, but they're different. It's different seasons.
But
with the beer, it makes sense because the Christmas beers are usually heavier,
right?
Because it's colder.
There are rules. All right. So Christmas beers. So Christmas you have ham.
Yes.
Easter you have lamb.
Not really in Sweden.
You do quite often. You have lamb. Or what's the other thing you have?
Eggs.
Eggs. Well, eggs. You always have eggs. I mean, that's just a given.
Sill.
You always have
herring.
Well, so you have your. All right. So if we're going to break this down to a traditional Swedish plate,
yes,
you have your cold version first, and that's always
everything's the same except
cheese,
for the ham. You're correct
herring,
about the ham.
Cheese, seal.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Grodfil,
yes.
salad lock, or chives, or whatever.
Yep.
It's always the same. So you always have that. And then the second part is the thing that usually differs. So for Christmas, you always have the ham, and you have the meatballs, and you have the Prinskorv.
We have the meatballs and the Prinskorv for Easter as well.
I know. I mean, yeah. I'm getting there. And then for Easter, you have, what's the Easter dish? It's different. A lot of times it's lamb, but it can also be some other stew meat usually, or something roasted.
Maybe I'm growing up in the wrong family.
It could be also that it varies slightly from region to region. I've noticed that as well.
Yeah.
And then for midsummer, you have the exact same thing, but you also have like boiled potatoes and strawberries.
Yes.
Those are the 2 big differences. You have to have the Swedish boiled potatoes during midsummer. And then you usually have like maybe you grill some steak, or you grill some sort of salmon. Oh, salmon. Don't forget the salmon. There's always like warm smoked salmon.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's different. Different
maybe that's
regions.
different from families or regions.
But
yeah,
this is an Oktoberfest, so
yes.
we should be eating sauerkraut and
right, bratwurst and pretzels. Big pretzels with a lot of salt. What's the other thing? I feel like there's another season. There's a summer beer season as well, but those aren't really anything to like.
There's not really a midsummer beer release.
No, it's usually like there's a lager moment, like in early May or early June, where it's like, oh, here's all the lagers that are coming out this summer.
Yeah, but that's not really a seasonal release. That's just because it fits to have there.
But they do like 4 seasonal releases a year, don't they? They have. Well, I guess it's Christmas, Easter, Oktoberfest. Yeah, and I think there's one more, but not important.
Not important.
So anyway, what we have today are 3 Oktoberfest beers. We have one that is the most traditional mass-marketed Oktoberfest beer, and it's usually one of the main sponsors of Oktoberfest every year. And then we have another German beer that is new to me, but also is probably a brewery that's been around for 120 years, something like that. I don't really know anything about the brewery. And then lastly, we have a Swedish entry into the Oktoberfest releases. So I'm very excited about all 3 of these because I really enjoy even though the first beer is a mass-marketed, owned by AB InBev release, I've always enjoyed it in the past. So I'm kind of curious how I feel about it this year compared to previous years. So are you ready, Martin?
Yeah, I am.
All right. So first up, we have, of course, Lowenbrau Oktoberfest Festbier, and it is just as Marzen-y, Oktoberfesty. It is like the quintessential Oktoberfest beer, and it's
the easiest to see through.
Yeah, it's the clearest, most lageriest looking beer you've ever seen. I can see Martin just straight through it. It's very, very clear.
You can always see right straight through me, Stefan.
You're so transparent in your manipulations. All right, so let's go.
Cheers. We didn't even smell it.
It smells like a beer.
It smells like cardboard. No, it doesn't smell like cardboard. It smells like white bread.
For me, it just smells like beer. It's like if you think of a traditional beer smell, it's beer.
Oh wow, this is cold. That's probably good for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's nothing that distinguishes this from a regular pale lager.
No,
there's nothing that makes this Oktoberfesty.
And for me, that's kind of one of the things I think is very interesting about Oktoberfest beers, is if you don't really know what you're looking for, if you were to try just like a Lowenbrau versus an Oktoberfest Lowenbrau, you'd be like, what?
Which one is which?
Yeah, because a lot of times there is a difference when you start trying them side by side, but they're not that different, I would say. There's a lot of similarities because the Marzen style versus a lager or a Pilsner isn't so dynamically different from...
No, I think it's supposed to be a little bit maltier.
Yeah.
So actually a little bit richer in the flavor, and this one isn't really...
Well, what I do like about this is I think the mouthfeel... It's quite nice. It's a little thick. It's not as thin and watery as you would expect. So it's got some body to it. You're right. Flavor-wise, it's a Pilsner kind of flavor. It's a beer. But it's pleasant enough.
We're drinking it cold enough so none of the off flavors like metallic tastes come out.
Yeah. It's actually quite cold. But I don't think it's not meant to be a huge flavor bomb, and it's not meant to be something that really overwhelms the palate, because they're serving it in 1.5 liter
some steins
steins. So you're going to be drinking a lot of this. However, what is surprising is the ABV. If you had to guess, what would you think the ABV was on this?
I should have snuck a peek.
Yes.
6.
It is 6.1. That's extremely high. If you drink 1.5 liters of this, you will get fucked up.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be closer
4.9.
to 4.4, 4.5, something like that. Now, if you were to drink I guess 2 of these would be basically 2.5 of these would be a stein. And it comes in at 50 centiliters. So yeah, it's 1.5 centiliters, or deciliters at that point. So that would make you
happy.
It would make you would be not feeling any pain. And today, people drink 2 or 3 of those.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine drinking, 4.5 liters of...
Yeah. But with the concept of Oktoberfest, I enjoy the environment that happens with the German oompa 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 music.
You gotta have the polka. It is part of. That is a big part of it, because I think if you were there and if we were to actually just line up really traditional Spaten, Lowenbrau, I think what's the other one?
I can't think of any right now.
There's 2 more I'm just totally blanking on right now.
Yeah.
That are real traditional. When you think of German beers, these are your German go-to beers. It's more the environment, I think, than I think the beers themselves. It's the guys in the lederhosen, it's the girls in the drindles with their boobies hanging out.
Yeah, I think that's it. Might even be slightly sexist, but what I really love is the women who can carry like 6 steins in each hand.
I'm amazed by that that is heavy.
I am not even close to that capacity. Like not even close.
The upper body strength required for just the glassware alone, is extremely impressive. But then to add like all of that liquid weight on top of it, those women, I'm applauding them. And in fact, the woman on the cover of the Lowenbrau is in the
Dirndl.
Drindle dress with the 4, 5, 6 of the glassware of the beers. So
there are some stories on the internet, like justice stories, where some guy is pinching a girl who's serving at an Oktoberfest, and she has a hand free, so she slaps him, basically unconscious, because of this upper body strength.
He's just like pure raw energy just exploding across him.
But it's just a light tap, and he's like, he's out. He's done.
He's probably already drunk to begin with, so that just like sends him over the edge. All right, so the Lowenbrau now, if you smell it, there's a little more metallic notes coming off of it.
Yep.
It's a little more kind of the cardboardy kind of flavors off of it. But overall, I'd probably give this like a 3. I think it's a baseline. It does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, and I give it a 2.5.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. So I'm looking forward to our next 2 beers. Actually, the Lowenbrau was just to establish a baseline of what is an Oktoberfest beer by definition.
Yes.
And I think like Lowenbrau is very much in that wheelhouse of the Oktoberfest tradition that hasn't changed, because I'd be willing to bet that no matter what AB InBev does to this beer, they have stuck with the tradition of how it's supposed to be made and how it's supposed to be produced, and they've just expanded the production scale of it.
Agreed. So the reason why I picked up my phone is because I wanted to know how old the next brewery is.
All right, so the next brewery is Wieninger.
Yeah, the brewery is
Wieninger.
The whole title is Privatbrauerei MC Wieninger. So it's, as far as I can tell, it's privately owned. There are no foreign powers interfering. Yes. And it's from, the brewery was founded in 1813.
There you go. Yes.
So it's more than 200 years old.
This says Siet 1666 on the label. And it says they are working with the Reinheitsgebot from 1516. Probably. So this should be about as traditional as you can get.
The problem with those, like, we've been brewing since Jesus times. Probably there was a monastery that brewed, and then these guys started in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And it just said, we're continuing this tradition of brewing in this small region. That happens quite a lot.
Yeah. What I don't see on here, though, is an ABV. Hold on one second.
But it's sold at Systembolaget.
It is sold at System. Oh, there it is. It's the really, really fine print over on the small border. Very, very easy to overlook. It is 5.7%. It's 13% Plato.
Yep.
Just for your edification. I know Plato is really important to you.
To me?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I know how much you care. You're like, oh, that beer is really nice. What's a Plato on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
hit me with some Plato knowledge.
Yes. So, and we're not talking about philosophy. This is a much darker beer. It's still extremely clear and just like a beautiful, beautiful beer. What I like about this beer, though, that I don't see so much in the Lowenbrau is the bubbling, the carbonation through that. It looks like champagne.
It's beautiful.
It is just sparkling little bubbles floating up through the beer itself. And then this is called, what's the name of this beer? I'll let you pronounce.
Hoglworther Festbier.
Yes.
Of course it's Hoglworther.
Naturally. I mean,
I feel like a Hoglworther.
I feel like it's a Harry Potter spell.
Hoglworther. Oh no, he turned into a frog.
This smells different than I'm not getting metallic off this. I'm not getting
a lot of aroma from this one.
I'm getting like some herbal notes off of this.
I want to try it.
All right, let's just dig into
Cheers.
it. Cheers.
This is much more what I expect from an Oktoberfest beer. Because it is richer, it is maltier. There are probably more malts involved in making it. This is more what I would expect from Märzen.
This is really good.
It's definitely better.
Oh, it's like night and day better. Like this is something. This is it says in the back. It's a Helles Festbier, lager beer, Stockholm. Depending on how you want to call it. But this is like just really clean, refreshing. It's one of these beers I think that if you did have 1.5 liters of it, you could easily just drink this and not even realize that you had downed
probably
1.5 liters of this, because it doesn't feel filling. I don't think like it is not heavy. It's like I said, it's super easy to drink. I'm quite liking this.
Yeah.
I think there is more character to it.
So it's imported by the import firm Beer Enthusiast Sweden.
Nice.
Enthusiast,
just the one guy.
Yeah.
He's just like, yay, beer.
Yes, hello. I would like to buy 10,000 liters of Hoglworther Festbier. Who are you? I'm an enthusiast.
By God, I will send you all of it. I've never seen this before. I've never seen this on their shelves, so this might be the first year this has become available in Sweden.
Oh yes, for sure. This brewery has, since I became interested in beer, 2007, this brewery has never reached Systembolaget shelves, ever.
Well, great. That's just lucky then that I ordered it.
Yes.
Because when I went through it, I looked at the Systembolaget offerings. I gotta admit, there wasn't a lot that really piqued my interest. Because some of the Swedish offers were not that exciting to me. But this one, I was like, well, I've never heard this before. This could be pretty good. So let me go ahead and grab one of those. And I'm really glad I did, because I think this is quite good. So what would you rank this one?
3.25.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go like a 3.75. I think this is one of those styles. Like, can you ever give this a 5?
No.
I think again, you have to break it down within the style itself. You can give it a 5, but if you were to like line up a bunch of beers and like, what would you rate this lager versus this crazy ass IPA or this pastry stout or something? Of course, it's not. It's going to be like a 2 at that point. But
I could enjoy it as much as a 5 if I had a big cold Stein in the middle of Oktoberfest. There's polka band rocking out.
Yeah.
Preferably they're standing on a table. Oompa 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 oompa.
Do we need some polka music? Would that make it better for you?
Probably.
Well, let me just see what we can get here. You can vamp a little bit for us while I pull up some exciting polka music, because who does not love polka music?
I'm scared that it won't transfer to the recording, and our listeners will hear nothing.
I bet they will. They'll hear something.
But I do want polka music and girls dressed in dirndls.
Well, I can only get you polka music.
I only have you dressed in a dirndl, and
it's just not working. I cannot push up.
It's doing half of the work for me.
Yeah, it's halfway there.
Yeah, of course. No, but I've never been to Oktoberfest in actual Germany. I've only been to cheap Swedish copies that felt really plasticky and like, oh, so fake. Bayerischer Defiliermarsch.
There we go. I'm not sure how well this will come out. We might turn it on a little bit. All right. There we go. So it's pleasantly in the background. Now, do you feel more Oktoberfesty?
Yes.
I know.
The beer is tasting better.
Suddenly it goes up 2 points. All right. So for our last beer, we have an Oktoberfest beer from Remmarlov, and it is the Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Comes in at 5.3%. It's the lowest ABV of the lot.
Because Remmarlov are very responsible.
Yes. This is just a traditional Marzen beer.
Yep.
It says Prost.
Yeah, it's by far the darkest.
Oh yeah, this comes in on the darker end of the Oktoberfest spectrum, almost into like Dunkel.
Nah,
Dunkels can be.
Dunkels are supposed to be black.
They're not always. They can be
No.
clear as well. I mean, I've had both recently, as a matter of fact. But yeah, it's more of an amber color. Also, still extremely, see-through. I mean, you can still see the other side and pretty clearly through the beer. So keeping that again, the bubbles are very champagne-like, just kind of fizzling up through the beer itself. The smell is beer, malts. Yeah. Pretty much. Not much else I'm getting off of that. Sweetness.
I have to be honest with the music. I wasn't expecting marching music. I was expecting accordions.
Well,
I don't know
what?
why.
This is just the Oktoberfest. Well, can we? Let's...
This is much more like it.
All right, there we go.
But this is like a techno remix of. Well, we'll see. I don't mind. I'm not that big of a.
Your demands for music for Oktoberfest are very high. Okay, well, cheers.
Cheers.
I think this has the most character.
Yeah, it's very
Of the
caramelly.
Yeah. You're not getting the. You're still not in that middle region, but there's definitely more going on with the flavor here. For me, it tastes a little more herbal than the other two.
Yes. This is the beer that I enjoy the most on a basic flavor profile.
Yeah.
But if I had this in a big stein at Oktoberfest, I would feel cheated.
Why?
It doesn't feel like a real Oktoberfest beer. It feels like this is an autumn.
It's a nice, pleasant autumn beer.
Yeah,
I can see that. I think of the three,
it tastes a little bit like an ale actually.
it is kind of close to that because I think it's got a little more character, and a little more body, a little more flavor. It's less golden and transparent than the other two, but it's quite pleasant. It's quite enjoyable.
It's pleasant, it's enjoyable, but it's not in the true Oktoberfest spirit. It's the best beer of these three.
Oh, easily.
But
Yeah.
we could put an Imperial Stout here and it would be great, but it wouldn't be an Oktoberfest beer.
But this is technically an organic lager. It is an Oktoberfest beer. It is a Marzen style. So it does fall within the category of
I get it.
the style.
That doesn't mean I think it's style typical.
True. I can understand your discrepancy there, but I think that it's ABV wise, it's falling in the same kind of general score.
Sure.
It's still a lager, which the other two are as well.
Yeah.
It's still in the Oktoberfest tradition. I think I would be surprised if it does not follow Reinheitsgebot as well. Although, water, corn malt, hops, yeast.
Yeast? You're not allowed to have yeast in a Reinheitsgebot beer.
Oh, that's where they
all do.
I know.
We've talked about this multiple times, haven't we? Like when they wrote the Reinheitsgebot, science didn't know about yeast.
Yeah.
So yeast is not allowed, according to Reinheitsgebot.
Yeah, so the Wieninger has water, barley malt, and hops. And the Lowenbrau says water, barley malt, and hops.
It's okay. So
And hops extract.
The recording apparatus.
We'll have to call her right back.
Yeah.
We'll wrap up here then. Call her right back.
3.5.
3.5. I'm actually going to give this 3.75 as well.
Yep.
I really enjoy this beer.
But they're not. It's better than the previous beer.
It is. It is better than previous beer because it has more character and it has more interesting notes to it. But I think that you're right. I think that the coloring and the flavoring is throwing us off a little bit. I think if one of the others had been a bit darker, and they're by no means the exact same color across the board. They're all slightly different in hues and shades of color here. But I think I really like the Remmarlov.
Yeah, I do as well.
Oktoberfest.
It's the highest rating of the three.
But I gotta say, if I had to buy more, I would go with
Hoglworther. Yes,
Hoglworther, yeah.
I would as well. Now that the Lowenbrau is warmer, it's so much worse. I'm decreasing it to a 2. All of the off flavors are starting to seep out now. Metallic, cardboardy.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Well,
yeah.
I think we have some. It's interesting. Like even though all of these beers are in the same kind of scope and realm, I feel like they all offer something different, and we have seen variations on a theme, and I kind of really enjoy that differentiations. I would definitely try to get my hands on some more of the Wieninger. It's delicious. It's clean. It's refreshing. I think if you can get your hands on it, it's well worth it. The Remmarlov also, I think, is a really, really great beer. I've got a few bottles of it myself already ready to go. So I think that if you can find it in the Systembolaget, because they also put out something called the Festbier.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is quite as good as the Oktoberfest Festbier.
Okay.
But they're both, I think, I don't think you're going to have any complaints with either one if you like the style. So until next time, check us out. Wait up.
Yeah.
Check us out online. whatsontap.podcast.com. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, and anywhere you can find podcasts online. So until next time.
Trink weiter, Dummkopf!